What would you do if you provided over 40,000 hours of free childcare for your daughter's kids, and now she's accusing you of favoring her sister's child? This is actually happening to one of our listeners, and no matter how she tries to explain it to her daughter, like, this is not true. The daughter is not getting it, and now it's really starting to hurt their relationship. So she reached out to the Mind Your Boundary community for help. A little backstory. This mom and dad told their kids as they were growing up, if you guys choose to be working parents, because they're two girls, if you guys choose to be working moms, we support you 100%, but please allow us to provide free childcare. We really want your children to be raised by family rather than strangers. And they stood by their word. Once their daughters had children, they have provided free childcare for 8 years. But now, this one daughter is throwing a fit because her sister's schedule is different. So it seems like her sister's child or her nephew is always over there, but it's just not the case. So because they have different, like, varying schedules, I did the math because I think this will help this mom explain her case, like the hard numbers. So check this out. This is actually unbelievable. So we have grandma and grandpa up here, and we have daughter one. So she had kids first. She works 60-hour plus weeks, 5 to 6 days a week. And her babysitting hours, grandma and grandpa's babysitting hours, are from 6:30 to 8 p.m. They have 2 daughters. So I had ChatGPT factor in like they're in school now and all that stuff. So factoring in work hours, times that she babysits, school hours, summer hours, all that. By this age, grandma and grandpa have spent, 23,000 and change with this 8-year-old, 21,000 hours and change with this 7-year-old. So over 40,000 hours of free childcare has gone to daughter number one. Now, she is having a big problem with her nephew always over there, and I'll explain that in a second. But because the nephew is 3 years old, I wanted to know, based on this work schedule, how many hours had they spent with grandma and grandpa by the time they were 3 years old? And it's almost 10,000 hours each. That's quite a bit. So let's look at daughter two's work hours. So she works 2 to 3 days a week and a lot of weekends from 3 p.m. to midnight. And because it's midnight, the nephew sleeps over quite often. And I think that is what's confusing daughter number one. But even factoring in some of the nights that he might sleep over and a lot of the weekends he's over there, by this age, he has accrued just over 5,000 hours. That is almost half of what each of these kids have spent with grandma and grandpa. Before I even get to what I would say to my daughter, I just have to say, I don't know grandparents like you. Like, what a profound, remarkable, unbelievable gift you're giving your kids and your grandkids. This has to be exhausting. Like, you're babysitting around the clock. Like, I know it's a gift. I know you know the value in it, but my gosh, this is a lot of hours. So again, it's daughter number one that's struggling with this whole situation because she feels like her nephew is over there all the time. So what I'm thinking is happening is, because the nephew's over in the evenings, because he's over there on the weekends, maybe she's calling up mom and she's just, griping about her day, and mom has to go because little Johnny's getting into something. He's 3 years old. He needs attention. And I think, like, she is forgetting that her 2 girls were over there even more. I think she's just kind of having some amnesia. So what I would try if I was this mom, and I'd already tried everything else, explaining to her, like, oh, this is totally fair, I'm not favoring your nephew, I would go to the hard numbers and geek out. So I would write the numbers on a Post-it note, and I would show her, and I would say, listen, sweetie, I know that this feels like I am favoring your nephew because he is over here in the evenings, he's over here on the weekends, sometimes he disrupts our phone calls, and I want you to know I know it feels that way, and I completely understand, but because this is interrupting our relationship, like, we're actually getting, we're creating distance because you're bringing this up quite often, and I can't figure out how to explain to you that I have probably poured way more into your family than, this 3-year-old child or your sister's family. I did the numbers, I did the math. And by this time, when your daughters were 3 years old, I had almost spent 10,000 hours each with your daughters. That's like almost 20,000 hours spending quality time with your children based on your work schedule. And then when I calculated out little Johnny, he's just over 5,000 hours at this point. So same age. So I just want you to know at this rate, he will never catch up in terms of FaceTime with me than your girls. So even though I know it feels lopsided, the math is the math. So because this is interrupting our relationship, this is causing us to just not get along, I can just feel it. I can feel you resenting me. I can feel you starting to resent your nephew, maybe even your sister. I want to set a limit to how much we talk about this. I would rather not talk about this going forward. I ask you, pull out this sheet of paper with the numbers on it and try to self-soothe. So the next time you're feeling like this isn't fair, he's always over there, whatever, I want you to pull out this number and say, even though I know it feels like I'm favoring him, look at the numbers and be like, the numbers don't lie. Like she actually did pour in almost twice as much to each one of my little girls, and try to see if that helps rather than coming to me every time, because again, this is hurting our relationship. It's hurting your relationship with your nephew and probably your sister. That is what I would do. I would also remind her, this is a gift. Like your father and I, we are doing this as a gift to you girls and to our grandchildren. And yes, it's a gift to us, but it is exhausting. We made this promise to you, not knowing that your schedules would be different and we'd be babysitting around the clock. We are babysitting around the clock. It fills our hearts and it's exhausting. We wouldn't have it any other way. But having you complain about such an invaluable gift hurts me so deeply. So please, pull out the sheet of paper, try to self-soothe, and see if that helps. That's my thought on this. Again, you are just something else for doing this for your kids and your grandkids. I know the community will have so many good things to say to you. So many good ideas and insight is coming your way. Thank you for reaching out for support. And I hope the hard numbers are helpful for you.